Mandos, this is the way. Hello and welcome to the show. This is, what Banter Box's number is this?
12.
It's 12, is it? It is 12. Right.
We've lived it, mate.
Let's start that again. Magic hands, right. Hello and welcome to the show. You're watching Banter Boxes and this is episode 12. I'm your host, Mandalorian, the X-Wing Jesus, and with me today down there is C3 Barlow, human cyborg relation of a protocol droid. Hello.
Howdy, how?
And then over there is Ham Solo, quality smuggler of quality meat products. And have you got any quality meat products in your buffet today?
No, I'm just smuggling this humble toffee crisp.
Sponsored by Toffee Crisp.
Other chocolate bars are available, worth mentioning, but you know, I always find after a hard day smuggling around the outer rim, nothing beats a toffee crisp and a cup of tea.
The outer rim and then carrying up the Khyber, yeah. Khyber crystal. So
well, that was just, I misread the invite. I thought you said tonight we're going to be discussing farces. So I thought Star Wars, farces, carry on up the Khyber crystal. Meets.
Oh dear.
But no, now I'm going to have to change it. So carry on as you were.
Right. Okay. So as we've alluded to there, tonight's show is all about the Force. So we're just going to talk about the Force, and we've also got a Patreon running. So I'll do all that bit, get all that out of the way. So I've got a Patreon running. So if you go on the Patreon and search for Mandos, we've also got a Mandos Facebook page as well. So click like and subscribe for the videos. Don't miss any of our tomfoolery. And let's get on with the show. So we'll just talk about the Force in general. So light side, dark side, not much in the middle going on, although there are a couple of little things that, you know, that tweak that little thing. I think we'll get the grey Jedi out of the mix at the moment, because apparently there's no such thing as a grey Jedi. You're either light side or dark side. As far as I know, there's only one character that's in balance, and we'll talk about that character later. We'll leave that one dangling there. I don't know if that's the right word. That sounds a bit dirty, don't it? Anyway, so I've got Yoda's quote here about, well, we've got Obi-Wan's quote. So he's explaining it to Luke, and he says, the Force is an energy field created by all living things. Wow.
Or midichlorians, as they were called.
Huh?
Well, it's created by all living things, but then they changed their mind and said, actually, no, it's just midichlorians.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention midichlorians, but that later on in the show.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see here. But like Yoda explains it, it's energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings we are, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you, here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between the land and the ship.
You're right there, Ian. Do you want to well, yeah, that was a decent impersonation.
Was it? Well,
oh yeah. I was convinced. There he is. Look at that. No relation.
He doesn't like it.
Rugo doesn't agree.
He's going to go back to sleep. Anyway, that's that out of the way. Tomfoolery. And what you got there, Dave? Is that whiskey tonight? Brandy?
No. This is just a fine cup of tea to go with my delicious toffee crisp. Not affiliated.
Oh, my word. Right. So the thing we see about the Force is mainly it's the magic of Star Wars, and it's loosely based on like some Eastern Reiki and things like that. The things that make Star Wars good is with all the stories, the characters, everything is pulled from little elements of stories and things that we have on in our real world, and like Reiki and ancient mysticism and all this sort of stuff is things from the past, and as you know, it's drawn from experience. So that's that bit out of the way. Let's get on with all the tomfoolery. So let's look at some force powers. So the stuff that we see in the films, basically, we'll start with A New Hope, shall we? So I think, what do we see in A New Hope? We have Vader doing a bit of dark side, doing a bit of choking, don't we? We see that, and that's quite a lot of that goes on with Vader. He seems to be just really adept at going, don't like you very much, crunch, you can have some of that. Whereas, you know, he could have done that physically, but that's an even more intimidating thing, being able to do that from across the room and to do it across space. You know,
do you reckon he's doing that for legal reasons?
I didn't touch him.
I didn't touch him. What are you talking about? He just happened to choke to death by himself.
He must have been chewing gum.
He might have been having a toffee crisp too many.
Oh my God. Are you seriously? Are you getting paid for that?
I should be. If anyone out, I'm very available to comment on any other of your confectionaries. I'm happy to comment. But hey, no, I mean, seriously, I think from memory, isn't that the first time you see a proper force power being used in the Star Wars saga, or at least in chronological terms, in the fact that was in the 70s? You see him reach across the room in the chamber.
Yeah, but I think probably the first force power we see being used is the Jedi mind trick from Ben.
Well, actually, you see a force power before that, because believe it or not, I had a bit of free time on my hands in the last few weeks.
Okay.
And I've rewatched, and I've got Disney Plus, because that's where Star Wars resides nowadays. And I got a chance to watch through the entire Star Wars saga from chapter 4 to 6 in the last few days. What I noticed is, you know, the little embellishments he's chucked in. Lucas, God bless him, had time on his hands. He chucked a few little embellishments, like there's a CGI this or a CGI that. But I also noticed the first time that Ben Kenobi encounters Luke, they changed the soundtrack slightly. So what was originally him going scaring off the sand people has gone up to 11. It's now a terrifying woo, and I'm pretty sure that that's force infused, shall we say?
Right. Okay. So like a defense. So like a I don't know, some sort of
fish ability.
Yeah, broadcast script. Yeah, lung power.
Yeah, the sound.
You go and look at it. I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously, my memory of watching it as a kid was just there was some mad old bloke with a cloak going. Whoa! But then, you know, that was pretty much the 70s generally.
See, I assumed that was the sand people shouting at each other, let's get out of here, some scary bloke in a cloak's coming along.
No, that's the thing. I watched it again, and you can very clearly see this bloke is going, wee, as Ben Kenobi, kicking it up to 11 using force powers, I think, and scaring off people. Because he mentions it a bit later on. He says sort of like, you know, I've scared them off for now. I'm paraphrasing here. I've scared them off for now, but they'll be back in a minute in greater numbers. So, you know, I think that's possibly. He doesn't sort of like say that's the force. Use it, kids. You can just see that there's a little bit more umpire going into that than usual. So I'd suspect that that's the first example of a force power being used.
Ah, that makes me wonder. You know, how many other little things have we missed with all these force things going on? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned the other day about the rank when we talk about Return of the Jedi, the Rancor pit, and you got Luke Skywalker doing a bit of Jedi aftertouch, throwing a skull at a door, crashing down on the Rancor's head. Was that the Force? Was it just a lucky shot?
Well, that is a basic force power, isn't it? Telekinesis. So
yeah,
you know, you push people away, pull people towards you, move things around. That seems to be a basic thing. You know, when you talk about levitating the rocks and stuff like that, it's one of the basic. Seems like every Jedi's got that. It's like You can move that. That's nothing special, mate. I can do that.
Don't you think though that there's a missed opportunity there, that the Jedi is, rather than being intergalactic peacekeepers, should have just been removal men, because they can shift stuff around like nobody's business.
Just float them around. There we go.
Yeah. Put it over there. All right. Okay. Well, move that piano. Right, said Fred. Off it goes.
There we go. So we've got telekinesis. Typically, I've got there from the board game I did the other week. The light side have got pull towards you. The dark side have got push you away. Because the Jedi are nice and cuddly, aren't they? So they want you near you. Whereas the Siths, they hate everybody and push them all away.
Pretty sure in some cases the Siths are pulling things towards them, like lightsabers, other people with a lightsaber extended.
Yes.
So I think it's an equal opportunities ability.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of game states, it's nice and cuddly to pull things towards you. And,
Come here for a cuddle. Oh, that's all right.
No. Exactly. So then we've got, as I've written them down, so we've got mind trick, we've got force bond. So you can actually. You mean holding things in place? Yeah. There's that. It's almost a mind trick, probably force bond to encourage you to divulge things, whereas you would
sorry.
Well,
I thought
to gain information from somebody. You go, oh yeah, you got a feeling about me. I'm your friend, haven't you? Do you see where I'm going?
They're a bit con-men-y. It's sort of like confidence tricks.
Yeah, it's just along the sort of like the Jedi mind trick, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Isn't that just the Jedi equivalent of buying them a pint?
Yeah.
Because it just happens that they're Force users, but they've got access to a bar tab. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I thought when you said bonding, it was kind of like holding people in place, because it's almost like an extension of telekinesis. But you see Kylo Ren do that with blaster bolts. You see Vader do it, stopping things dead in the air, so he can just give them.
Yeah, that's next on the list. Freeze. I was leading up to that. You've already got there. But that seems to be a dark side ability, that they can stop things in midair, like energy.
Jedi type. Yeah, maybe not.
Like that. Vader can absorb that energy as well, can't he? Because he basically took it in on his hand when Han comes in, and then telekinetically strips his blaster out of his hand.
Yeah, he's just full of tricks, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, no strings here. So there's a lot of stuff. So we've also got energy transfer. Not sure what that is.
That's the whole Palpatine, Rey, and Kylo thing, isn't it?
A little bit. I think it's kind of like healing, isn't it? Jedi healing. Whereas
we'll talk about healing in a little while. I shouldn't point me pen. That's a bit crap. We'll talk about healing in a little while, because that expands into a bigger discussion. We'll talk about that in quite depth in a little while, because some of that is new stuff, and I need to. You might be hearing that for the first time and think, what is going on? But anyway, so the bottom of that column of lists is the force jump, which Alan's a fan of. C3, by the way, he's a fan of that. We see Kanan and Ezra doing that. How Kanan's pushing him to leap, and then he's using the force to push him even further. I thought that was brilliant.
When we first meet Ezra, you see him. Sorry, when we first meet Ezra, we see him doing a force jump naturally without any training on his own, and then you've got the extension of the force jump, which is the force jump and push, which is what Kanan and Ezra do.
That's left, right.
I think the first time we really see the force jump is possibly in Empire Strikes Back, isn't it? Luke Skywalker running around on Dagobah, and then when he's in Bespin, the facility, he's in the carbonite freezing chamber, and then conveniently turns his back, and then whoop, he's up there, and he goes, "Oh, didn't train you so well, did he? Oh, wait a minute, what was that?" And That's
Yeah,
the
you're
first
right.
time you really see a force jump.
But it wasn't properly explained in any way, was it? It wasn't sort of like, oh, I'm just going to do Yoda's taught me how to do this force jump. And then later on in the film, he then does a force jump. There,
But
that's what we see these days in films, but it wasn't.
Do you think that's why there are so few Jedi? Because they've all been practicing and not quite got it. And then just,
Yeah.
Don't
To
do
become
it
a proper
indoors.
Jedi, you need to leap from there all the way over to there.
What's those red smears down there? Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think the first time you see it done sort of like wholesale is in the Phantom Menace, where I think they're mucking around, aren't they? They're trying to get off the ship, and they then end up running around on Naboo. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of force jumping going there. And when they run into Jar Jar Binks, who's obviously not a force user, there's a fair bit of jumping around there. I think maybe he's just showing off.
yeah, you got Qui-Gon jumping into the ship, haven't you? While it's after they've fought Maul the first time.
Yes.
Yep. There's lots of it in the Phantom Menace. I seem to remember there's even right at the beginning they're sort of like jumping 20, 30 feet, and it's looking blimey, they've had their wee bits.
Yeah, but I think the thing with the Phantom Menace was because there wasn't just Kenobi, Skywalker, and Darth Vader. They had to show all these Jedi running around, and they're just casually using all these powers all the time. So when we first see them on that Trade Federation ship, that blew me away. When as the opening scene in that film, and they're running around on that ship, and the droids come out, and he just goes, wow, just knocks them around. I was like, yes, this is what I want to see.
Yeah,
it went downhill
using lightsabers to open doors and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, definitely, I definitely get the feeling of like at that point in time, after seeing no Jedi's for 20 years and only seeing one half taught one, seeing a bunch of fully skilled in prime Jedi's was pretty nifty.
But as well as that, Anakin as a little annoying kid being able to pod race like that, using his force sensitivities to be able to get him round, because apparently humans can't really do pod racing, can they? But little 10-year-old force sensitive kids can.
You have to be a Sebulba or whatever the equivalent is. I don't know what that creature is, but he's called Sebulba. Anyway, but actually you mentioned that's an extra power that you haven't got on your list there. Is advanced senses, and I don't know what the right term for it is.
I have got
reflexes.
a lot of other stuff here, yeah.
Oh, you missed them off. Oh, you've ruined it.
Yeah, I've got a long list of stuff here. So
because I was going to say the obvious elephant in the room you haven't mentioned is lightning.
Yes, force lightning. That's definitely on the list, and that's a dark side power. No. Yes, but
Ray could do it, but that was. I don't know. The thing is, right? I don't think we saw anyone other than Palpatine and Dooku use it.
Yeah,
and
Dooku uses it.
Ray's a Palpatine, so blah blah blah. So I don't know. Maybe it's a Palpatine custom trick that he just happened to teach his mate Dooku. I don't know.
And Vader must be pissed because he obviously knew that Dooku could do it.
Yeah.
Are you going to show me that? No.
No, you haven't.
When you get your son in, I'll show you it when you get your son in, and then I'll show you that, and then you'll.
Force powers as a pyramid scheme. I'll teach you how to heal your partner. Oh, she's dead. You won't need that then. All right, and you've got metal hands. You can't do the lightning with you got metal hands, can you? Because you'll be buzzing today.
That might hinder him a little bit. Yeah, so we also got life drain. So, anybody heard of Darth Nihilus? No.
Oh yeah.
I know the name. He's from Knights of the Old Republic, isn't he?
Yeah. So he was basically sort of like a force vampire, basically, and he would just go around and go, well, to become more powerful, I must consume your life energy, and he would just get more and more and more powerful to the fact where he was draining the life off of entire planets and stuff like that. But he was defeated. Yeah, it sounds horrendous. It sounds absolutely awful. That somebody would get that powerful, and it was just like it leads you into, story-wise, it leads you down a really narrow And oh, where are we going to end this? Oh, he becomes too powerful and just blows up. You know, that sort of thing. But he was defeated by Jedi or an ex-Jedi. Anyway, I don't know much about that. That's about it. But he was extremely powerful and probably a lot worse than the Emperor Palpatine.
But did he have lightning hands?
I think he had everything, mate. I think rather than lightning hands shooting out, he was sucking everything in. He didn't have to touch anything. He could just go, yeah, I'm having your life energy. There we go. I'm more powerful now.
Wow. Must be great at parties.
I think he would absolutely have Palpatine. He'd just be like, yeah, you're done. I don't even need to be on this planet and you're done, mate. You can't hit me with your lightning from down there.
Yeah.
He was.
I mean, so we do see that kind of force leech thing with Palpatine on Last Jedi, don't we? Where he sucks out the life energy from Rey and Kylo.
Yeah.
Like he could suck the energy out of
to
that.
heal himself.
Sorry.
Oh, where are you going with that?
Suck the energy out of that film, honestly.
So we've got the other thing there for dark side. We've got his mind probe. So whereas the Jedi use a mind trick or I'll buy you a pint, mate, they do it without consent. So they basically go in there and they'll have the information out of your head without even asking you. They'll just be like, yeah, I'm reaching in. I can take that.
Yeah, I think you see Maul use that a few times in Rebels and Clone Wars, just little bits. But it's all a bit of the other canon, shall we say? A bit of Star Trek mind build kind of thing. Hands on, wiggly wiggly. Yeah, oh, I know what you.
That was all consent, though, wasn't it? That was like, oh yes, yeah, you can go in and do that. That's fine. But like, this nothing like that. So right, so the other one I've got hate on there because they're basically drawing all their strength from all their anger and hatred through the Force, basically, aren't they? They're winding themselves up for even bigger power, and that's how Palpatine generates all that power to generate that electricity through his own anger and hatred.
And that's kind of where Rey does it as well. She's hyper emotional when Chewie's getting taken, and she's trying to pull it through. So this sheer force of will she manages to generate, because it's hate. These people are trying to take one of her best friends.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they didn't go far enough in the film. There's a deleted scene where Chewie gets tortured in that last film, but they went, no, we can't show that.
So I want to let the audience think he blew up, but let's not show him getting a rod shoved up him. No.
Really?
Let's really make it sad for the kids.
Right, Chewie, we'll flip you over. There we go.
It might hurt a bit.
Oh my word!
What they expect to get out of a Wookiee? He literally just goes. Aah! So tell us about your bays. Anyone speak Wookiee? No.
Oh, you remember Kylo would have grown up with him, so.
Oh God, that's even worse. Oh,
this is Uncle
Chewie.
Exactly. So anyway, that's like torturing the family dog. How can you do that? This is like, you can't do that, can you? Anyway, moving on. Let's get away from torturing hairy beings. So we've got force vision. So on the lighter side of things, we can meditate and see how things are gonna happen and pan out. I think that's more of a force ghost sort of type thing.
Well, I mean, you get Palpatine saying everything has happened as how I've seen it. So it's not just a light side thing. It's also and in the whole of the Phantom Menace and the first prequel trilogy was apparently going to his plan. So he obviously went to the Vision Lodge a lot.
Yeah, and then Maul probably did as well, didn't he, to get his plans through? So and then
the light side are blinded to the dark side, so they can't see it. You get Yoda mentioned it a number of times that the dark side becoming powerful, their vision started to wane.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't pay their license. They didn't have their license sorted out.
So then we got force projection as well. So we see that in Last Jedi. So Luke goes to fight Kylo, but he's not really there.
Yeah, you got it with Yoda appearing to Ezra as well in Rebels in the temple.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit skeptical about that. You can't tell. A lot of the stuff about Rebels, you can't tell whether or not it was really them or the spirit of something or other going on, because those Jedi temples, they're freaky, baby.
The first time Ezra hears Yoda's voice, he can't see him, and it's saying because Ezra was more powerful with the Force the second time that Ezra could see him. So it's kind of the Force got to be powerful both ways for this projection to work.
Possibly, or it could just be the fact that they needed him to be more powerful in order to access the temple more. Who knows? So you know, it might have been that could have been like a Force recording of Yoda or something like that. Who knows? It's all space wizards.
And then you've got the holocrons as well on top of that. So the holocrons, you got dark side ones, light side ones, and they train the Force users up and all this sort of stuff as well.
Is that really the Force, or
convinced about the books?
Is that a Force, or is it just really a recording device?
Need the Force to open it, but they're essentially glorified USB sticks.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. And
cool.
you know, you need the Force to open.
They're very cool, but
kind of an encryption key, isn't it? That was the Chinese lockbox.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about the Force heal then. So we see that's your bulk standard goodie power healing, because that's a light side. You know where I'm coming from. So what we see in that final film that we've got, Rise of Skywalker, there is, no, we're talking about the ultimate healing here, is where Kylo Ren is I think he's killed, isn't he? And then Rey brings him back to life.
Right? Very much. He's Ben Solo by that stage. I think he's ditched the crime thing when he starts putting on a slightly lighter wardrobe. Yeah,
so Han comes back and basically saves him, don't he? Between Han and Rey. So Rey has not only healed him, she's brought him back to life. So this is where it gets a little bit funky, because recently there's some theories out there that Rey apparently is the most powerful Force user that we've seen so far.
But is she?
Well, the thing is, she can't fight for a start. But
where's your young friend? Because didn't he do some healing in The Mandalorian? He's kicking it out wholesale. He's doing it several times a series. And she does it once, and everyone says, "Oh, she's so powerful. Look at her."
Yeah, but I mean, she brings him back from the dead. There is actually another weird thing here that, like, if you suspend your belief at the moment and think that she's the most powerful Force user in the galaxy, that there's an even worse thing coming, because apparently the next film, Rey is actually pregnant with Kylo and her baby, because when she brings Kylo back to life, she gets impregnated at that moment. Apparently, this is what I've been reading. And you're like, really? And it's like a Force pregnancy. Where have seen that before?
Well, we have seen that before in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, so he could be the new chosen one, couldn't it?
Oh, God. Every generation gets a chosen. I think the most fantastical power that we haven't mentioned yet.
I seem really excited about it.
Force teleportation.
Yeah,
we've only seen it once in that Rise of Skywalker film, and it's the most ridiculous ability ever, where you can literally teleport a lightsaber across like million miles. How? Fundamentally, how? That is, if you want a suspension of disbelief, that is literally dangling it over the biggest pit of I can't believe that I've ever seen.
It's magic.
We've got the kind of Force, the world between worlds from Rebels in existence. So there is that kind of dimensional plane which theoretically could be used. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think those two had ever trained on it. It seemed like a remarkably convenient narrative. What am I saying? Honestly, it's Star Wars. Well, who would say that?
Yeah.
So it's not science fiction, it's science fantasy, which is even better for these things to exist in.
Oh yeah, it makes Harry Potter look like
In the realm of space wizards, this is completely possible. This is what Disney would have us believe. So, and on that note, I've got to bring the show to an end. I've been watching the timer clicking down. I was like, oh no, we're going to have enough time for this. So, thank you both for coming on the show. And this is the way.
Mandos, this is the way.
I said it was going to get weird. Did you not think about the pregnancy then?
I've not heard about it, and I think that's insane.
Yeah.
Maybe they did with a forced teleport of his junk.
He's junk.
You know, so many things can be conveniently explained by forced teleporting. You know what I mean?
That's space.
Like, oh yeah.
I'll teleport my love juices into.
No, but forced teleporting. Well, there are two things that I found the most annoying about the Rise of Skywalker: forced teleporting and light speed skipping. What the light speed skipping?
Oh.
Right at the beginning of the film, you've got Poe piloting the Falcon, and apparently light speed skipping, whatever that is.
Oh yes.
In and out of hyperspace really quickly. Yeah.
Which he's with the TIE fighters, and they can light speed skip too. Like, what the hell?
You know, every other film says it takes time to calculate these jumps, but otherwise you're going to end up in the middle of a sun or something. And then all of a sudden, yeah, we can skip.
Poe magic. It's not even Jedi magic. It's Poe, so they've got no excuse. It's ridiculous. I think the whole thing is that's my biggest issue with it. That they've took the science out of the science fiction. They basically turned it into bloody Hogwarts.
Science fantasy, man. It's not science fiction. Science fantasy.